Versus Sheik. Ready? Go! Two, 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 ha, ha. Two, ha, two, ha, two, ha, fire! Pop, 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 ha. Two, two, ha, two. Ha! Two, 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 ha. Two, two. Mid. Two, 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 ha, two, 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 ha, two, ha, two, two, two.
Oh my god, fam. Really funny.
Two, 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 ha, ha. Two, two, ha, two, two, two. Ha! Hop, hop, stop. Ha! Toe. Ha. Two, two, two. Ota. Two, two, two. Ha. Two, 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 two. Ha. Two, 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 two. Ha. Two, two, hop. Mid.
Oh yeah. Perfect. Nice. Oh, I thought I got out of the way. Nice. Oh, that was really good.
Choose your character. Versus Sheik. Ready? Go!
Oh my god.
Choose your character. Versus
Not
Sheik.
FD.
Ready? Go! Choose your character. Versus Sheik. Ready? Go!
Hello?
Hey,
Hello. Okay, cool. I guess. Do you have any initial thoughts on those matches?
uh, hmm. Yeah, I felt like I couldn't really hit you.
Mm-hmm.
I think the reason is, well, there's a lot of reasons, but I think felt like I was just kind of like swinging instead of like trying to set up like I don't know, like a good spot for me to be in, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like when I'm playing that matchup my best, I kind of like I pick my spots, right? Like the positions where I want to like set up some sort of pressure and then
Yeah.
like and especially like, I kind of can like make the fox like at least like scared or like kind of like force them like into a decision sometimes. Like I felt like I couldn't like I wasn't really cornering you and I was just trying to hit like random like raw hits in neutral where it's like okay, like it's like more out of desperation than like actually like this is like, specifically what I want to be doing here. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, because you're really hard to hit. So eventually I'm just like, all right, I'm just gonna
I
swing.
gotta do something.
Yeah, I have to do something, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what it felt like to me. And I started doing like this bad habit I have where it's like, man, I don't know what to do in neutral. I'm just gonna start spamming jump.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just started spamming jump, and obviously that wasn't helpful either.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely agree with what you said. I definitely think that like honestly, I think it seemed like it was hard for you to hit me. I honestly think there were a lot of opportunities where like you had me in a spot that was like unfavorable,
Uh-huh.
but you didn't necessarily know the like right way to like close it out. Which I think
Okay.
is like that's one of the big parts of like Fox Sheik is it's like I don't think Sheik is necessarily the best at just like arbitrarily hitting Fox, but the one thing that she does have is when Fox is in like the position where like a thing could happen, she like is almost always able to make like a pretty like valuable decision, and potentially hit Fox a good portion of the time.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
totally. Sorry to cut you off. I
no,
just
no,
want
no.
to know how to get Fox into that position.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because I definitely feel it when I'm in the position. I'm like, oh my god, this is crazy, right? Like,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
but yeah. Sorry. What were you saying?
No, no, no. I think that like a lot of the positions are like there will be a lot that are really clear like that where it's like, oh my god, what the heck is happening? But I think many of them are also very like kind of quote unquote random where it's like, oh, you wouldn't think of this position as a position where Fox is like forced to do something and has like trouble disengaging from it. But like there's a lot of spots like that where if you or even like spots where you're relatively safe generally, and if he does like one thing, you can just kind of snap at it. And I mean that's why like a big part of like J-Mix play is you see how Willie like reacts to full hop or whatever, and like a lot of spots or like vertical melee in general. It's like those are spots where he like doesn't really have to worry about anything else, and he's just checking if the Fox does like the one button. If the Fox does the one button, he's just like super prepared to, oh, I'm gonna up tilt, oh, I'm gonna wave dash, play the mix up, or I'm gonna CC something.
Like you're saying like he's primed to like react to certain things or like
Yeah, he's primed to react to certain things because those are like the only thing that's like likely to happen that matters. Because I think in
uh-huh.
those spots it's like using the verticality example. If a Fox is on a top platform and Sheik's at like somewhat of like an angle, maybe I don't know, less than 45, but like a slight angle where up tilt would be hitting if Fox were to drift into or whatever, right? If Fox like runs off the side of the platform or like full hops on the platform or short hops on the platform, those are like things that you do not have to care about at all, right? There's just nothing that will like it just can't hit you most of the time. But like if Fox, decides to drop directly on top of you or something like that, then you have an opportunity to like interact with it meaningfully. And that's like kind of a different example just because I think it's like it feels a lot more of like a open-ended mix-up, but the concept is still there where there are a lot of things in the situation that actually end up being pretty irrelevant and you could just like only focus on the one thing you want to hit. And then like that's where like a lot of Sheik's value comes from where there's random spots where she can just like pick the fucking one option that she can hit really well and like blow Fox up for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now it's hard to
Let's
find
focus.
those. But yeah.
Let's focus on those when we look at the VOD. I think that'd be really helpful. Because
Yeah.
obviously, like, yeah, there's like punish game stuff and edge guards I drop too. Like,
Yeah, but that's
obviously that's that like especially like obviously I miss tech chases. Like my combos could be better. But let's try to focus on the neutral stuff to the extent possible. Unless like
Yeah.
there's things that are really obvious and like edge guarding or some punish thing I'm totally missing.
Yeah,
let's try to focus on
probably
neutral.
the punish probably isn't even that important. You're probably not warmed up. It doesn't really like. I'm not gonna be like, man, can't believe you dropped that tech chase. It's like
Yeah,
whatever.
right, right, agreed.
Okay, cool.
Do you want to share screen? I think it'd be better if you were navigating it, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna open up the VODs right now. Ooh, give me 1 second. Slippy folder loading. You know how long that takes.
Oh right, yeah. Do you usually? I think usually sometimes when I do these kind of lessons, I try to record the Slippy VOD ahead of time so we have like an actual good way to like navigate the VOD. Do you usually do these analyses like just on the Slippy, like through the Slippy player, or like?
Yeah. I do it either through the Slippy player or sometimes people have like sets on YouTube and those are all, like perfectly functional.
That's my only problem with Slippy is that like the replay viewer is so bad.
Yes,
it's like
definitely
really
not
bad.
Really good. Okay, let's see. I'll pick the Battlefield game. Just the last one we played. Actually, we can just go through. Or probably end up going through a good amount of them. So I'll start the Fountain game, even though it's first match. Okay, should be streaming. Let me know when you're in.
Okay, I can see it.
Cool. Okay. Oh, right here. You totally had me. Like here, it's like you did this jump, and there's just like, if you look at the how the situation plays out, it's like I can, given how far I was into my full hop and what my drift had been at that point, it's like all I can really do is double jump the top platform, right? Which doesn't immediately impact you. I could continue falling, or I could do like an aerial or something. And given from where you jumped, right? If you like had saw that I'd full hopped in this way right now and you started faring, there's nothing I could have done about that, right?
Yeah.
And
you
does
think
that,
this
like,
is what's the issue? Is it a reaction?
I think
reaction issue or like a readiness issue? Like I wasn't ready for you to do it, or I just like wasn't looking at you
I think
the right way.
I think you weren't. I think you like realized that I full hopped because you wave landed back, but I think that the way you reacted was poor.
Okay.
Because like, if say for example, if you were reacting with like, if you're ready to be like, oh, in this spot where Fox is full hopping in this way, and there aren't any other alternatives, because since he's so far drifting forward, he can't drift back at this point and avoid anything. Double jump doesn't immediately hit me, and if he continues to fall, he'll get hit by fair. It's like when you see a position like this come up, I want your reaction to be like, oh, I'm going to fair him because that like it hits the thing, it hits something meaningfully. Hitting Fox out of the air is good, and if he like does something evasive, it doesn't actually matter, right?
Okay.
And so here, like instead of reacting with waveland back, which made sense, like maybe disconnected, but within context, a fair would have just like hit me out of the air. I like land and shine, you shield it, you get a mix up on me doing some shine thing, and then maybe you start like a combo, right?
Yeah, I guess my thinking is like, I feel like I went into this thinking like, okay, if he jumps at me, I'm gonna try to like, whiff punish or something.
Mm-hmm.
Is the problem that I like committed like my thoughts to like a decision too early, right? Like should I just have been like, I'm just gonna jump here and then like whatever happens, or I guess should I like I don't usually read with the idea that like, especially at low percent, that I'm gonna try to aerial you.
Mm-hmm.
I guess a lot of the actually I don't know. It depends on the situation. But in this situation I wasn't, right?
Yeah.
So what's the kind of the solution here? Like on my end? Like I should have just like maybe I made the decision, like did I make the decision too early that I was gonna waveland pretty much no matter what if you jumped at me? Or is it like kind of like a knowledge thing where it's like you shouldn't waveland in this situation, like you should know to fair here?
I think it's just a knowledge thing, because I feel like there's nothing wrong with this jump. There's nothing wrong with the intentions behind the jump. It's all perfectly reasonable. It's just that you have to be able to realize that, like, when this, specific situation comes up, you have to do the fair thing, right? Instead of, wave landing back.
Okay.
And like there's the important aspects of this that like make the situation kind of what it is since you're so far away, you actually like can spend the extra few frames reacting to my drift, because like if I drifted back with this full hop from the beginning, then I wouldn't be like, oh yeah, fair. But like you can actually tell, right? Like
Right.
that I was drifting forward, and then you would be able to fair. And that's like loosely relevant, but I'm trying to like give context to the situation, not to make it seem like I'm here saying, oh yeah, obviously you fair here. It's like there's like things that like make me saying, oh, you should have fared here, kind of like have some value outside of just doing the thing.
And that the clue is like your drift, which I could have probably reacted to while I was in midair.
Yeah, it's like you have the information of my drift from right here, right? It's like, oh, you know that I'm full hopping, you know that I'm drifting forward at this point, and with all the other context where it's like, what does Fox do out of this spot? Double jump to top platform. That doesn't. He's not going to hit you out of like your jump when he wave lets the top platform, right? Does that make sense? Yeah. And then
It does.
if he like, since it's so early in his full hop where your fair would be coming out relative, you don't have to worry about him like fast falling, right? It's not, he's just gonna get hit kind of regardless. And if he like does an aerial, it doesn't matter because your fair is gonna like just out prioritize it anyways. And so it's like, the way the situation plays out, there's like one option that you don't have to pay attention to, and then the other options interact poorly with the thing that you would do, right?
I see.
And
makes sense to me.
yeah, and like all of that just to say that like when you jump and see that like something like this happens, or the fox is full hopping towards you but like isn't on top of you even though he's drifting forward, you can realize that he's doing that and change your decision to fairing, right?
Yeah.
Does that make more sense than like before?
It does. It does. Yeah.
And these are kind of like the spots where, oh, Sheik actually can do something. You just have to like realize it as it like happens and be like, oh, know that in these types of spots you can do X thing to interact well with it, and like really having them, because Fox kind of like has to give you these spots, because if we put this situation completely, take a step back, I do this full hop because I was like, oh, you're dashing forward, I want to get out of the corner into center, right? And so like now when you think of all this together, it's like, okay, well, this full hop or the short hop you did makes so much more sense. It's really good because it like interacts well with me being on the ground, because you can play mix it in whatever way. And then if I full hop like this, you have an answer that you get to like blow up,
Makes sense to me.
Yeah. Nice. Good grab. Oh.
Yeah.
Edge guard's hard. I don't think I have any specific thoughts other than you have to go lower with that bear.
I agree.
Yeah. As long as you just like cut off the actual like up B super duper early, then fine.
Makes sense.
Nice. Oh, you had me too.
Really?
Yeah. I think you just F tilted late. I think you tried to check too much. Yeah, I feel like when we're at that range, you kind of just have to press the F tilt button, realizing that we're in that range, and you think I might hit you. Cause like, let's see, I wanna get to the point where I actually start dashing forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, right? And it's like, you did it on reaction to me dashing forward, presumably, and look what happens, right? It just loses to a delayed nair. And so like, when we're actually in that range, you just have to do it like at like a reasonable timing. That is preemptive. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I feel like, so the worry is that like, I mean, obviously this habit with Sheik players, right? Like the preemptive like F tilt like is like from Fox running at you is like the scrubbiest thing ever, and I feel like every good player owns you for it, right? So it's hard to know like when should I be preemptive and when can I be like reactive? And I guess obviously in the corner versus Fox dashing at you, obviously you have to be somewhat preemptive, right? Your options are pretty limited here.
Yeah, I think mostly it's just like having acute awareness of the spacing, because there are some spacings where Fox can move forward and you can just forward tilt on reaction and it will go fine most of the time. Obviously there's ways that Fox can like precisely outplay it. That's like whatever. At that point then it's like just decide to play another side of the mix up. But in situations like these where this is the spacing essentially, there's no like you don't get to like react with forward tilt. You can react with other things. You could react in shield. You could react in crouch. You could probably react in jab. Like all those things are valid. Jab's also really good in this spot, by the way. Secret technique, but
Really?
yeah. Jab like interacts really well with Fox jumping. It stuffs his jump a lot of the time. It has good horizontal range, and if Fox is like running, it like interrupts his like run, maybe shine timing or something, and you could always like realize that he was grounded the entire time and like decide to like shield and then get a mix up on him like shunning your shield.
Interesting.
Like, yeah, jab is it's sounds random, but jab actually is good in this spot.
I feel like the instinct is not to do that because like Fox is pretty low percent if you're like doing any kind of like down holding or anything and like there's shine and everything. Like it just feels like, I mean, interrupting jump for sure. I actually do it more against Falco because he will be jumping so much of the time.
Yeah.
But I don't really think to do it against Fox in this spot at all.
Yeah, but it's actually good. And what you could do too is you could jab ASDI down and like option select fucking everything. It's actually wild. You could like jab, react to the jab, true hitting, and then like just jab grab, or you could jab and then actually get hit but be ASDIing down and then realize that you're ASDIing down. This position it wouldn't have worked because you're above knockdown percent. But then like realize that you got hit but you're ASDIing down and then grab the nair, and then or you could jab and then realize he's on the ground and then like shield or something, and like it's actually insane how well it works out. But it's just because Sheik jab has such like long horizontal range. It hits out like right here, that's like a Fox nair length.
Yeah, true, good point.
Yeah, and that's like a secret technique thing that you could do in this spot that's actually really good against. It's like if Fox doesn't actually run in, what's he gonna do? Is he gonna whiff punish a jab?
No, definitely not.
Right, and so it's like it's pretty good. But yeah, the issue with this spot is that forward tilt, if you're going to do something on reaction, forward tilt isn't the thing you could do. Now you could do forward tilt preemptively and it's good, but if you're going to react, you have to use something like shield, jab, or crouch. Does that make sense?
And what are some of the other, let's say, like, what are some of the ways that like good Sheik players or like things that you have difficulty dealing with? Because I feel like this is a super common situation, like Fox running at me in the corner, and even looking at it right now, I'm like, damn, like, what's a good way to get out of this spot? I'm like,
yeah.
We talked about the jab thing, and if I had done my F tilt maybe a little bit earlier, that would have been good. But even then, sometimes I feel like, man, like I don't want to swing an F tilt here. I was just scared.
Yeah. You always have the option to wave dash back to ledge. No one really wants to do that, but it is an option. Something that you can also do is you could do dash wave dash forward, and it goes under a lot of nairs, and the nairs that doesn't go under, it like what's it called? You can like ASDI then have some form of interaction with it, right?
Okay.
And then,
why do you dash before the wave dash forward for momentum?
It just sets it up better.
Okay.
I think you can, because the thing with it is the further forward you're lower to the ground, the better. Because if you do the wave dash from too far back, what ends up happening is you like will end up right on top of the Fox with like coming up from your wave dash, from your wave dash, which is like not the worst, but probably undesirable.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, when you do that, you could go under a bunch of his like nair things, and you could like react during your wave dash and realize, oh, he didn't actually nair. I'm gonna, maybe I'll up tilt, maybe I'll jab, maybe I'll hold shield, right? And then if he didn't actually engage, you have like ways to play that situation out too, right? Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah. There's also full hop, which is pretty risky, but especially with the platform here, I wouldn't advise it. But in a lot of positions, full hop does have some like value, because you being able to either full hop and then fall here, or like full hop then fall here, has some value. But I think it definitely is not the most valuable thing.
Agreed. Especially it feels terrible if you get called out.
Yeah, you get called out. It's just like, oh, that's so cool. I'm done.
You're for sure dead.
But yeah, that's like about the things. You could also, man, there is also another thing you could do is, but this is like kind of troll, but
Okay.
you could do like walk forward buffer turn and then short hop backflip, and then like check if the fox is running forward or not, and like
Wait, how do you buffer a turn? Sorry.
yeah, I mean, it's just like you just press right on the stick, and then you
Okay.
press the opposite direction, but not hard enough to dash, and then jump or whatever. Yeah,
And jump backwards over them?
yeah, you jump backwards over them, and then it's good for like beating like run in specifically, but a lot of the time it interacts kind of awkwardly with jump, so I wouldn't necessarily advise it. But if you have a really hard read on running shine, you could also do that, and you will just fair them off stage, and they will die instantly.
That's dope. Not bad too, because I feel like a lot of the time I like having my back turned against Fox in these situations. Because
Yeah.
like also you can be like, I guess like not in that specific one, but if I turn my back here, right, I'm also threatening bear, which I definitely like at this percent.
Yeah. So if he doesn't run in, you still have bear available too, which is good. But those are most of the things that you could like generally do from that spot. Does that all feel good? It makes sense.
Makes sense to me. Yeah.
Cool. Oh, actually, I do have a thought here. Something that Krudo does that I think is really good. Instead of this Omps tech, what he does is he just like holds down and fast falls, and like he just clips to ledge, even from side platform.
That makes so much sense. Yeah.
It's super duper good. It's just like, what am I gonna do about it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's super good.
Getting free ledge there is awesome. I totally could have just taken center there. I actually don't even understand why I wouldn't go to center.
Yep.
I don't think I was like, I was scared for no. I guess maybe you could have shield dropped
Yeah.
if I kept running, but
I'm like trying to defend myself. I don't want to like hit you, you know?
Yeah.
And so
exactly.
you definitely like had your like, oh, I know that he's shielding. What if I do like, you could be aggressive and do wave dash under up tilt, or you could like just run into center and like play from right here or something.
Yeah, that would have been way better. Oh.
Yeah, I think here's another spot where you actually had me. It's like you juke me, you even turned around so you could do things, but then you didn't actually react to me running forward, and then you like did this wavelength thing, which might at this point I'd probably say is like pre-programmed a little bit.
Yeah,
I think
definitely pre-programmed.
Yeah, because I think here, after doing all this, you see me running forward from like earlier, and you just fair here, and it's like,
dude, I swear, Fox gets close to me, and I just lose every single brain cell. Like, like I'm not like I don't understand why I'm not checking here. Like, right, like just like looking at you, like because like this is like obviously when you pause it, it's like, well, of course, just like hit him, right? Like,
yeah, it's hard to realize.
Yeah, play a favorable mix-up. I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on that? Like, I guess like, and this is more true. Like, if this was tournament, it would be twice as true, right? You get like I don't know what the word is. Maybe panicky. You just want the interaction to end. You just want to hit the other person, right?
Yeah.
So like you do this kind of pre-programmed option, right?
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts on that? Like, how do you force yourself to react here, or like check the opponent's position and like make a decision based off what you're seeing instead of making a decision based off like whatever you just thought you were gonna do, 30 milliseconds ago, or something you've already committed to doing?
It's really, really, really hard, but the way that I like feel like I've learned how to react, at least more than I did before. Obviously, I'm not reacting every time I'm not the GOAT, but I think it's just like really feeling like you have, mapped out a situation in its entirety to the point where it's like, I know all the things that can happen here. I know all the things that I want to happen here. You just have to like just put all your faith into the game. Because, at the end of the day, the game is a system and it will function the same way every time. And if like, I think it feels way better to kind of like just put it all onto the game. Having to be like, oh man, I have to do this thing. It's like, all right, the game it'll work itself out because that's how it works, and I know well enough to know that it will do that. And so like, in this position, to apply it to this position, be like, I do this thing because I want to like potentially interact with Fox running forward, and I know that if he runs forward, I can do this thing. And then like, I think if you just fully believe that, at least more often than maybe before, you'll just like play the situation out like typically and not like feel super bad about it, right?
Okay, I see.
And there is also the other answer where it's like, just being kind of like trying your best to not like feel scared about the result, but just like being committed to doing your best to reacting, even if the outcome goes poorly, I think is also valuable.
Oh, go ahead.
I don't know. You go. You go. You go.
Do you feel like generally? So I guess I'm putting myself in these spots. Is my issue like I guess right? There's like obviously always many issues in neutral that like a player of my level or worse like would have to work out, right? Or better
Mhm.
too, I'm sure. What if you were in my position, right? Like, you have limited amount of time to work on this stuff. What do you feel like is the most pressing thing? Is it reacting in situations like these? Like, I feel like I'm sometimes like you said, like I set up these situations like a decent amount of the time.
Yeah.
But should I work more on like setting up these situations more, or is the more pressing item like once I'm in the situation, like reacting to it properly, or is it knowing what to do once I'm in that situation, right? Like, is the
Yeah.
problem the reaction? Is it the knowledge once I'm in the situation, or is it that I just don't set up these situations enough generally? I mean, in all likelihood, I could be doing all three better, right?
Yeah.
But what's your like kind of like your I guess like diagnosis, right? Like if I was to go next session with a fox, what am I focusing on? I guess is my question.
Uh, Before I answer, I have one thing I want to ask you, and with this position, that is about to come up, when you watch it in real time, do you feel like you know what you needed to do, or do you like feel like you actually like understand the situation when you watch it in real time? It's like you do this thing, you know everything that's happened, and you watch it and you're like, oh, I should have just fared there, right? Do you feel
Yeah.
like you like feel that when you watch it in real time?
Yeah, I feel like I probably could have just fared and it would have been fine.
Yeah.
Uh,
Did you feel that when you saw it without me saying anything about it?
yeah. I looked at it, I was like, what am I doing? Like, at
Yeah.
least it's like that feeling of like, why am I wave landing, right? And I feel
Yeah.
this way a lot when I watch myself play. It's like, dude, like, there's like an option that's obvious. What are you doing? you know?
Yeah.
Um, but I feel like it is because I've kind of like pre-committed myself to something else,
Hmm.
you know, already. And I don't know. I guess like maybe I don't know why I do that. Maybe it's because of like a lack of faith that like once like kind of like what you were saying, right? That
Yeah.
like maybe I think some crazy shit is gonna happen. It's like there's only so many things that can happen in the game, right? So maybe it's like a lack of confidence when Fox runs at me, like literally I just like freak out, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of unclear to me, but it does feel like when I am playing my best in neutral, it's like when I'm making decisions like as late as possible, if that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean then I feel like if that's the case, it's kind of probably just best if you're to play a Fox session right after this that you just try really hard to react as well as you can, um,
Okay.
and kind of not care if you do like if you react too late and the situation goes poorly because it seems like you know what you need to happen, but in the moment maybe you don't like do the thing, and if that's the case, then you just have to like practice actually doing the thing.
Right. Yeah. And practice maybe also not doing the thing that I just like have decided way beforehand for no reason that I'm gonna
Yeah,
do. Right.
yeah.
It's so hard to not press a button in a lot of these situations, like a panic button or whatever, and
Mhm.
like that goes double for tournament, right? Like
Oh
obviously
yeah,
if I'm pressing the panic button in friendlies, no way I'm gonna not press it in tournament, right?
yeah, yeah.
Um, I don't know. That's kind of how I'm thinking about it. I don't
Yeah,
know.
no,
What
I
do you
think
what do
that's
you
good.
think? It always helps to have like a second opinion. Obviously, like you played me for a few games, but like, does that sound like an accurate self evaluation? It's so hard to like know if like oh like I can tell myself well I feel like I can set up the situation, but then like once I'm in the situation, I don't know what I'm doing. But I could
Mhm.
just be bullshitting myself, right?
No, I mean I think that sounds accurate. It's like when I
Okay.
played you, I mean it's like that's why my thought was like initially you got me in all the spots, but you like didn't do anything about it, right? I feel
Okay.
like you know the things, you just have to like do them, or like at least have the discipline to do them. And I
Okay.
think your conclusion's accurate.
Okay.
Okay, cool. Let's continue on then. Oh, that position's hard. I kind of don't know if I agree with this jump in the corner. You like
Yeah.
wave dash jump is just such a slow action.
Yeah,
I
agreed.
also think that you didn't do that good of a job like checking the spacing. Because when you look at it, you like drifted far enough back to where if you just turned around and didn't shield, I would not have hit you.
Agreed. Yeah, this is another thing I do a lot, where I'm far away from Fox and I just jump like and kind of drift back because I'm scared or like give up a lot of stage, like I'll run away too much. Can we go to that situation where I kind of like drift, jump back to the drift? What do you think I
Yeah.
could have done instead here?
I think after the wave dash, you could have seen that like, oh, I'm not dashing, right? I'm just kind of in center stage chilling, and so you could have changed maybe to like turn forward and think about maybe I'm gonna forward tilt, maybe I want to jump to side platform, maybe I want to, you know, even I think wave dashing back here is also reasonable, um, or like dashing forward's also technically an option, but I'm not sure how good you feel about that one. But
Wait, sorry, wave dashing where? What'd you say?
or dashing forward, I think is a
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I need to do that more for
It's
sure.
also an option, but I'm not sure how like at this range, I probably wouldn't feel too good about it unless you're willing to like dash forward tilt right here.
Like run cancel
Yeah, run
and then just
cancel.
forward tilt in that space.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious about what you think about that against Fox. I feel like you really need to space it really well, right?
Yep.
Especially at this kind of percent. I feel like also even if I hit you sometimes, like if I catch you jumping, it's unreal. At
Hmm.
this percent, like you can kind of hold down and tech, and some all kinds of crazy shit happens, right?
Yeah, yeah. No, I agree. I definitely think that with dash forward tilt, the most important thing is that it has potential to hit him moving forward, and then if he plays like if he doesn't get hit by it or plays evasively, you're like still in a good spacing. And that's like kind of vague, but like I think using this example, if you were to run cancel forward tilt to right here, I would either the two options I'd have would be standing in this area or like maybe moving forward and getting hit at the timing where it would work because I could also just hit you immediately, but that's like that's a different mix up.
Yeah.
But like if I were to move forward at the time that it would hit, I would move forward here. But then if I weren't, I would be moving backwards. And then if I were to move forward, say like I do a dash back, and then I'd be like, oh, I want to dash back forward to play a mix up. If you were to double F tilt, for example, I would just get hit. Can you like visualize that? Where it's like you run cancel forward tilt right here, and then it doesn't hit, but I'm dashing back, and you realize that, and you forward tilt again. And if I were to dash forward, seeing that you missed an F tilt, I would get hit.
Interesting. I feel like actually no, that's actually hard to visualize for me because I feel like no, you know what? That does make sense. I feel like the double F tilt against dashback doesn't work when I'm already standing still. But if you like, I feel like it's tricky to whiff punish when I run up and then do the F tilt.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I would feel like a lot of the time with my double F tilt, it's like if I'm F tilting and the other person has dash back, they're gonna like whiff punish my F tilt. So I should probably like get the hell out of there, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
But I see what you're saying. Yeah, if I ran up and did the first F tilt, that's like really hard to whiff punish.
Yeah, I think the rule because you'd have to move out of the way to avoid it, and I think that the rule with like four tilt in this way is kind of like if they have to move out of the way to avoid it, they can't whiff punish it, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's a
And
good
that's
point.
why the double forward tilt, the second one would hit if he did try and move forward, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that makes sense to me.
yeah. But there's all the other stuff where it's like turn around, um, you could turn around, wave dash back, turn around, jump to side platform, turn around, forward tilt in place, or whatever. Also makes sense on top of like potentially dashing forward.
Yeah,
Cool. And honestly, I don't think this jump was necessarily that bad because it interacted well with full hop. Not sure why Fox should necessarily full hop, but like it did interact well with full hop. And if you didn't dash and you just turned, if you look at where your like back, pretty much your back left heel is. If you look at that, that's where you'd be standing. My nair lands right here,
yeah, that would have been great.
and so you could have just actually grabbed. And I think like on top of maybe it being kind of a decision issue, I think it might be just an understanding of like spacings issue. Um,
Yeah,
because sure, this might have not been like the decision that you necessarily wanted to make, but you could have realized that and be like, oh wait, I'm actually at like a totally fine spacing, and Fox cannot hit me. From
I
what
completely
happened.
agree.
Yeah.
I completely agree. Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, and I think here you like shielded because you like kind of messed up and they did something awkward and ended up in a spot you weren't expecting. Because kind of what I see here is I'm like, this Fox nared into the corner, and like from my perspective, I'm like, oh, this Sheik like pivot shielded as I nared into the corner. I'm not really sure what's gonna happen. I don't want to get shield grabbed, so I'm gonna dash wave dash away to set up a potential cover against roll, but that's not what I think is gonna happen. I just want to
Oh,
be safe
really?
against
You weren't
grab.
even covering roll. I thought you were actually calling out roll.
I was just like,
You were so ready to punish it. That's crazy.
it's
That's
like
not what you were expecting.
coverage. It was just like coverage
Yeah.
where it's like I don't want to get grabbed, but I want to have like I don't want to leave the other options available. And so by doing this dash wave dash, I was able to like check if you rolled or not, and then checked if you jumped, and then play those situations
The
out.
check is crazy. I'm just the level of preparation really surprised me. That's so cool.
But yeah, that's why from my perspective, that's what it is. And so I would see this as she can be like, oh, he hit my shield like this. I'm just gonna wave dash forward tilt. What? And it like sounds like I'm just like saying this in hindsight, but like that was the first thing that like actually came to my brain.
Really?
Looking at this situation as Sheik, just because it's like there's no way Fox was expecting you to like shield my nair. I thought you were just gonna get hit. That's why I was naring to the corner, right?
Yeah, somehow I thought, right, like my awareness is lower, so I thought like this guy's gonna shield pressure me. But yeah, looking at it, it's like, yeah, it's kind of an awkward nair into the corner.
Yeah, like look how far back I jumped from. My intentions were not to like ever hit you being in the corner. I saw you like right here as I was empty hopping, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna hit something in this spot because I wasn't expecting you to move backwards at all, And so that's why I do the nair so late, because I'm realizing that as I'm doing it, and then I change my decision.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's why I think here I'd be like, I'm down to wave dash forward tilt is Sheik and play that mix up. And I think that might be, a valuable thing for you in the future if you ever want to do it. But like also look at these positions from Fox's perspective. Because honestly, it just matters so much. It puts so many things into perspective when you do that.
Agreed.
This is fine. I wish when you jumped here, you didn't wave land away. Because you landing right here is a really good spacing. I'm on the side platform. If you short hop and I stay on the side platform, I get bared. Can't do anything about it. If you stay on the ground and I drop to the ground, I'm in dash attack or grab range, right? Like, I'm like getting fucked if you're at that range, essentially. But then we look at it in real time, you wave land back and look at where we're at now. I don't have to care about anything. Look at me. I just start dash dancing, right?
Yeah, I'm always kind of preemptively trying to like get out of a situation, like in case like Fox just runs at me, but that's not what you're doing a lot of time. It doesn't even make sense. You're on the platform. What are you gonna do to me from that spacing?
Right?
Based on where you are, right?
Yeah, and I think that like since we've seen the waveland thing happen 3 times at this point, I think it'd be fair to say that like wave landing is a good thing to do against Fox, but maybe being more specific about when you'd want to do it is important, because I think that like at least when I think of using waveland against Fox, I don't use it to like really do anything other than to avoid Fox hitting the exact spot I'm standing in. Because there's a lot of Foxes that do that. They see Sheik do anything and they just drill the spot that she's at, and that's when wavelanding's good, right? But when you look at all the situations that have happened, that's not even like on the table,
Yeah.
And obviously it's hard to do that in match and realize that this isn't a time when I'd have to do something. But at the end of the day, it kind of goes back to what we were talking about initially, where it's like you just have to hone your reactions and know that in these situations they are going like they will play out this way, and that's why this reaction made sense.
I see.
And so maybe it is a mixture of maybe having to learn more things and then also react better. But I think that, if you were to watch matches on your own, it would be pretty valuable to like see spots just where emotionally you're like, I feel like that was a good spot for me. What went wrong? And like looking at them with the intention of understanding, did I misreact? Did I not understand what was going to happen, etc., etc. Then you'll be
That's
able
such a
to
good
like,
idea.
make sense of it, you know?
Yeah, that's a really good idea. Yeah, because I'm often confused on like what to focus on when I do analysis, but that makes so much sense.
Yeah. I think if you don't know necessarily what you want to look for, just like use how you feel. It's like felt like this was the case, but obviously it was not the case. What's wrong? Why did I think wrong, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then once you waveline back, you're like, oh, I thought I had a good spacing, and look how you played after. You like jump again, and this is just awkward. You're like
Right.
doing this bear, and I'm like dash sensing, and you're like, fuck, I just did this lazy bear, and the fox is like definitely gonna whiff punch me, and so look what happens immediately after. You dash back, I'm like just doing my thing, you know?
This is such a common situation for me. Like
Yeah.
I have so many problems. Like first of all, the jump. You're so far away from me when I do this initial jump.
Yeah.
And then like I'm trying to bear as if like you're close enough that that would ever hit. It's not going to.
Yeah.
Right? There's like multiple levels of problems, but like the biggest thing is like I think is the first jump, right?
Yep,
Like
I
I'm jumping
agree.
for no reason.
I agree.
Right? Like the bear is also problematic. The dash back afterwards is like also kind of an issue, but like the biggest issue is in the first place is that I'm freaking out trying to be like, how do I cover myself against Fox running at me when like you're just obviously not doing that.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I feel like if you can, like, you know, when you watch yourself, realize that the crux of the issue wasn't even the fact that you did the bear or whatever. It's that you jumped in that spot. It's like, oh, I now understand, like, what the issue is. Because, you know, at your skill level and above and below, it's like, people know what is going to happen in the game. But, like, when things go wrong, that's when stuff starts not making sense. It's like, oh, but that's when like people are like, I gotta fix these issues. But if you look at like, you have to look at the crux of the issue, and the crux of the issue is you wave landed here when you didn't need to, and then after wave landing, you're like scared, and so you jumped, and then the jump was really bad, and so it's like, oh, now I know that like I probably wouldn't even end up jumping that way if I was just playing melee normally, right? But because there's all these things that happened beforehand, it has led me here, and so I have to fix those things, and this probably won't even happen.
Um what am I doing instead of the jump here? Just
Oh.
I could even literally it would be so much better if I had literally for just 1 second done nothing and just looked at what you were doing.
I
Right?
think that's a very good thing. Just standing still. Turn it. I think you should also face me, so you have forward tilt. But just standing still here is great. Turning forward and then wave dashing back if you really want to give up space is good. Because at this range you can't like safely cover running shine. You're still like playing a mix-up that you don't really want to play. So if you turn around and wave dash back, you're further back, and you can really check that the fox was actually gonna run forward with the intention to hit you in forward tilt. You could like do this is another spot where you could do the dash forward run cancel F tilt, and it will hit like around right here. And if I want to avoid it, I have to, you know, move out of the way. And then if you do a second one or whatever, and I try and move in, I'll get hit. I think it's actually good in this spot, especially with my percent, like with me being at knockdown percent. Now, you could get CC'd. That's obviously a part of it. A lot of foxes will be like, I'm going to drop from platform CC, and you'll have to deal with that. But those are all like good things to do outside of jumping. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sorry, you said run cancel. We talked about run cancel.
Yeah, so
F tilt.
here's another spot for the run cancel F tilt. You could turn forward, wave dash back. You could turn towards Fox and stand still. And those
Okay.
are all like the things that you kind of want to
Okay.
do. Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense to me.
Nice. I want to check this. This is fine. That was fine. Oh, you had me too. You like hit this fair, you outplayed me, and then you just like didn't know what you thought was gonna happen, and you like
Yeah.
did that weird full hop.
Yeah, like what was that?
Yeah, it's like
You're sitting there in shine.
yeah, it's like I got the fox. I faired him. I know we can't CC this. I know because I'd be ACing down because you like whiff punished me, right? It's like, you know, worst case scenario, he gets pushed back really far and shines and misses, and I dash attack or grab. Otherwise, he misses a tech. I get the dash attack anyways, right? So it's like you can almost always just press dash attack at this point. You won the interaction the way you need to win it, right? You just like didn't do the thing that followed.
I was too scared.
Yeah, but you just gotta. There's nothing to be scared of. This shun isn't gonna hit you, and if it does hit you sometimes, that means that you have to like practice doing the exact timing where the shun wouldn't hit.
Right.
And shun's also only a 1 frame timing, so it can't be that it can't be that bad. Good try.
We're over time. We made it through exactly one stock. But it was really helpful. It was honestly super helpful. I like the kind of like we talk about each situation and like discussing it. I think gives me more ideas rather than just like just keep going through it all really quickly.
Okay, well, cool. I guess let's wrap up. Do you have any thoughts before I kind of go over all the things that we talked about?
No. Let's you go ahead.
Okay, cool. Okay, so I guess just to recap. Initially, we talked about the concept of like how Sheik wants to win against Fox, or there's going to be a lot of spots where like you kind of got him and you get to like do your thing because you got him. But with your issue specifically, there's a lot of spots where you got him, but maybe it was like less clear than like some that you were more ready for, and you weren't ready to make the right decision. And I think both being aware that those are like Gotham spots and that you have to do something specific to interact well with them will help. There's a lot of spots where you're like reacting poorly to the situation. It's like maybe you're making a decision too early, or maybe that you're misjudging the decision in the moment. I'm not sure. But knowing what the right thing to do in those spots is a good at least start to guiding you to reacting well and having faith in said reactions. Even if you react slow, it doesn't matter because at one point you'll react at the time you need to react as long as you're trying to do that right.
Right. Better to be slow rather than too preemptive.
Yeah, right. I'd rather be slow but do the right thing than be fast but do the wrong thing.
Okay.
And then there were this. We like slightly covered the concept where like because you were scared, you didn't actually look at the position that you had, which at both times, the one in the corner where you're outspacing my jump, and then the other one where you backflipped as I was full hopping on the side plat, and you both of those times you didn't check the spacing, and so you didn't realize that they're pretty fine spacings for you. The first one being you just fully outspaced my nair, and you could have grabbed just seeing me jump and like demolish me. And the second one being when you landed, when you were doing the short hop, if you just had landed instead of wave landing back, you actually would have made the good spacing to interact with me being on the platform. But since you wave landed back, you were too far and then had to play like kind of awkward. And then that kind of led into the whole thing of like when things go wrong, it like pretty much just piles up because you're in an awkward position. You don't know what you're going to do. You're going to make a decision that's probably not that great. And coming to like finding the crux of those issues is important because the bad things that happen after probably wouldn't even have the opportunity to happen if you just play the situation correct initially.
Makes sense to me.
And that I think is pretty much all of what we covered. Did I forget anything?
I think that's really the main concept and the main thing I want to focus on in my practice going forward.
Cool. Okay. Do all these things feel actionable? Do you feel like you have like a plan for either watching or playing?
I think so. Yeah, I'm gonna start against like some of my like lower level friends just so I can like practice like neutral situations without getting fucking obliterated and just like try to do the thing where I just like like really like slow it down, check the situation, don't commit to anything preemptive. I just need to get in that habit because I feel like it's like right now I have a super ingrained habit of like being preemptive in those situations, and I need to undo that muscle memory. Do you agree?
Yeah, no, I definitely agree.
Okay, that's what I'm gonna try to do. Maybe I should just stick to that for a little bit because I feel like it's so easy to get distracted by other shit in this game. Oh, my punish game, my ledge dashes, whatever. But like, I really just need to sit down for a bit and just focus on this until like at least like it's like a repetitive habit that like I don't just like pre-commit in these situations. I don't know.
I-
That's how I would handle changing it, but I don't know if you have any other thoughts.
No, I agree. I think that's a good way to go about it. I think you know the things that you actually need to do in the situation. So as long as you can focus on like not making a decision too early, you're fine.
Okay. Cool. All right. I think that's it. Sorry we went so far over. Let me know what's the best way to pay you. Is Venmo fine?
Oh yeah, Venmo's fine. I can send you my Venmo stuff. And also,
That'd be great.
if you have questions or thoughts on the things we talked about, feel free to message me. I'm always down to answer questions. It's I want to help as much as I can. So if you
Great.
feel like you need it, don't hesitate.
That sounds great. Oh, and what's the rate? I forgot how much you
Oh,
charge.
I think it's like 30. We could do 30.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Yeah, just send me your Venmo. I'll send it immediately after the lesson.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Have a good rest of your weekend.
Yeah, you too, Billy. Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Yeah.